Ah, yes, Madagascar, another movie series that DreamWorks decided to squeeze the living life out of until the IP ran dry. It's been a while since I've seen Madagascar, but I do remember having a particular love for the penguin that didn't know how to speak. It starred very notable voice actors such as Chris Rock, David Schwimmer, and of course, the illustrious Ben Stiller, who, by the way, was on the cover of Time for most likely to be that one guy that sticks around behind at a party after everyone's left and makes the host very uncomfortable. When you've got such a powerful blockbuster series such as Madagascar, it's to be expected that there are people that are gonna make knockoff. I've covered knockoff mockbuster movies on this channel before. One of them notably was called The Prodigy, which was a Kung Fu Panda knockoff written by Robert D. Hanna. Well, our boy Robert is back with probably the crowning achievement of his writing, directing, and producing career, a little film called Life's a Jungle, Africa's Most Wanted. There's a slight chance that title might seem familiar to you because it was released the same year as Madagascar 3, Europe's Most Wanted. So I think essentially what good old Bob was trying to do here was he was trying to capitalize off of the hype that was building for the new Madagascar movie. I can't name a single person that was like a fanatic of the Madagascar series. Oh, I gotta fucking see Ben Stiller play a fucking lion. I need to see Chris Rock play a zebra and do the dance. I genuinely just don't know why people would choose this movie over a studio produced animated film. Or maybe like some 6-year-old's parents just didn't want to pay to take him to the new Madagascar movie, so they just bought a DVD of Life's a Jungle because they're fucking 6 and they don't know the difference. Pretty much the only similarity that this movie has with the entire Madagascar franchise is that you've got an animal living a cushy life that is removed from that environment, and he has to figure out how to sort of make it in the wild. So strap in, buckle on up, get your loins warmed up. Let's watch another terrible movie. This'll be fun. Hey, sorry about the mess. I'm moving out of my childhood home. Quick announcement though. My merch has been live for 4 days now. I'm currently wearing one of the pieces right now. This is the Milk tie-dye shirt. I freaking love it. Me and Leighton Stollard work super freaking hard on these designs, and I hope you guys like them. We've also got the outro design shirt, the Empire State of Milk shirt, the Cream Time hat, and the Cyber Cow War tee. If you're interested in getting this merch, then you can check it out at thegoodstuffmilk.co, and the link is in the description. For all of you who have already purchased merch so far, thank you guys so much. I seriously appreciate the support. It's actually been crazy, and I'm really proud that you guys like the designs as much as I do. All right, back to the video, baby. Listen, no movie review would be complete without reading first a plot summary of the film written by the filmmakers themselves. Pip thought he had it all. A pampered lifestyle, huge mansion, and adoring owners. That is, until the Taylor family booked an African safari. Pip finds himself separated from his clan, which forces him to reluctantly adapt to a new way of life in the jungle. As he bridges the divide between feuding wildlife, he learns that caviar and manicures can never bring the same happiness as friendship. Oh, that's beautiful. That's fucking beautiful. Like any respectable blockbuster set in a jungle, we open up with plenty of really badly tracked sweeping shots of the jungle in which we spend most of this movie in. It's also sort of a marker for how Robert D. Hanna opens up his movies, because this is practically exactly how The Prodigy opened up. We get a glimpse of the incredible biodiverse atmosphere that Bob's built with this film. It's really incredible, especially with these two fucking birds here. I don't think I could animate a pair of birds that badly, even if I tried. If I was a tiger walking through a jungle and I saw a bird acting like that, I would have been like, "You're first. I'm coming for you." Next up is a 3-toed sloth that is swinging from a very rigid vine. Also, I noticed that there's really no trees that sloth could be swinging from at the moment, because the only things in the area are like 4 bamboo shoots, and they definitely don't have offshoot branches that are strong enough to support a sloth swinging from a vine. He looks like he's doing some sort of reverse pole vaulting that also doesn't consider gravity. This intro lasts for about a minute and a half longer, which I don't know if you know this, but that's actually a minute and a half longer than I would have preferred, only to end on this incredible shot of a dog wearing a sweater vest exiting a tent on his hind legs. And you might be saying, well, Ted, the animals in Madagascar walk on their hind legs, so that's a strike for me. Well, hold that strike there for one moment, user 1345629, okay? Because the dog literally goes right up to his owner and just starts interacting with him on his hind legs. All right, so the theme has been set, folks, and that theme is there is no consistency on how these animals interact with humans and also each other in regards to stature. Also, this dog is not only wearing a sweater vest, but he's also wearing a shirt under it. Like, this motherfucker's layering. Ooh, this dog's looking like a Gucci model. I regret saying that. So the owner of the dog comes up and starts talking to him, and the dog is still standing on his hind legs. So I guess what we would consider as the audience right away is that this is just a dog that stands on his hind legs, right? Which is an interesting piece of lore to wrap your head around, but it gets more confusing later. So the boy and the dog, whose name that we now know is Pip, start driving across the Sahara because they're going on a safari in the jungle. And there's just this strange lack of sound throughout this whole scene. There's a haunting absence of sound in this scene. It is spooky. And there is also an abundance of incredibly dangerous driving maneuvers on the part of the safari guide. I don't know who hired this guy, but he's gonna fucking kill this family. And he almost does. Eventually they just reach a sign. And what's funny about this sign is that it's only made up of symbols. Like, there's just this implication that there's no infrastructure around an organized safari. Like, come on. Who's running the safari? The mafia? Once they reach the jungle, there's this terrible opening shot of them at this place called Vista Point, which I'm pretty sure is a village, but it's populated by rhinos. This is what I was talking about before. Why are rhinos standing when humans are just passing by? And why are they standing like this? I'm not even sure if they're trying to do what they do in Madagascar or even Toy Story, where when humans are around, they pretend like they're not what they actually are. In this case, they don't even care. Can you imagine the fucking power play it would be if you were an intelligent rhino and you were just like, I'm gonna fucking stand up on my hind legs and wave at the humans as they pass by? What is going through the rhino's mind that they're just like, hey, how's it going? So they travel deeper into the jungle, going like 60 miles per hour, first of all, so, you know, illegal. But for some reason, this one rhino is completely minding its own business. But upon seeing the car, it gets beyond pissed off. And he intercepts the Jeep and attacks it. Which of course knocks Pip off the Jeep, and then he bounces down the hill and passes out. Oh, okay, flashback. That's a marker of a good film. So essentially what this scene serves to do for the audience is it shows them that Pip was like a spoiled brat of a dog, I guess. He uses a golden toilet. He can recognize himself in a mirror. He is fed caviar and fish. He also just like openly talks to one of his owners at one point, and she reacts as if she heard him.
You missed one.
So they're having a conversation because clearly these animals can't decide whether or not they want humans to know if they can talk or not. Next up is this like anti-cat scene where it intros with this shot. Like, the editor really just could not be fucked to include more than one bell jingle. In this one moment here, that sound is used 70 times in a row. It's just the same sound 70 times. These people making this film are insane. You know what? I'm just gonna say it. That alone is enough to be a war crime, okay? They're going to federal prison. He's also wearing an anti-cat shirt, as if it wasn't already clear to the audience prior to watching this film that there's a stereotype in media of dogs hating cats. He goes and he bullies this cat for a little bit because he's an asshole. But then as he's walking away, the cat picks up and throws a baseball at him. And And then I think, I'm not entirely sure if this is true, I think the cat puts a curse on him. That was like an intentional animation thing, and we know that the editor won't use new sound effects unless he's fucking strangled to. I think the filmmaker is trying to tell us that the reason why Pip fell out of the car is because this random fucking cat that he bullied put a curse on it. We're only really operating on context clues right now because there's been maybe 3 lines exchanged in this film so far. So he wakes up after being passed out and he's greeted by a baby jaguar, which he tries to bully because he's an asshole. But of course, everybody knows the rules. You fuck with the baby, you get the mama's teeth. Another funny thing is that right now in the movie, after Pip has fallen out of the car and passed out for God knows how long, that's when the boy realizes that the dog is gone.
Mom, Dad, where's Pip?
Which means that after they were literally attacked by a rhinoceros, they just fucking kept going. Didn't check to see if anyone was okay. They fucking booked it. So next up, we're introduced to these hyena characters, which, as expected with any group of hyenas in an animated film in Africa, they're the comedic relief. These hyenas are like Italian mobsters or something.
Well, Pip, that big city stuff doesn't play too well out here, buddy. Ain't that right, boo-boo?
Yeah, that's right, Cuckoo. We're in the jungle, baby.
And they basically take Pip under their wing as long as he earns his keep. So the hyenas take Pip back to their house. Yes, I said house because they have a house. And before with the rhinos, I sort of brushed it off because I was like, oh, those are rhinos and they just happen to be populating like a human village. But no, that village belonged to the rhinos. The rhinos built that village, which means these hyenas built that house. In fact, it turns out that pretty much every animal in this film has a house, it seems. And the amount of human things that they do just doesn't line up with the fact that they're supposed to be wild animals. They're keeping meat in barrels. They're storing food. So in order for the hyenas to be impressed by Pip, they basically give him like a trial. They want to see how big his testicles are. And his trial is to walk across this bridge to reach this conveniently placed bucket of fish, and do your best to avoid the crocodiles that live in the river. I don't know what the fuck is wrong with the sound designer for this film, but he decided that whenever the crocodiles closed their mouths, he was going to use the same punching sound every single time they closed their mouths. The sound designer is a goddamn madman. He's out of control. I have no doubt in my mind at this point that he is a war criminal. I had my suspicions before, but now I'm definitely sure this man needs to be in prison. I do have to say though, the way those crocodiles are animated, it's pretty good. So Pip basically falls asleep that night. And he has another dream back in the past when he was pampered and he was having a good time. And he's getting like a massage from his owner, and he decides to turn on the TV. And probably the most ridiculous thing that happens next is that they put a knockoff within a knockoff. They literally put the Prodigy on the TV in this film. How big of an ego do you have to have, Rob, to promote your own film within one of your films? So Pip and the hyenas go down to the watering hole in order to get a drink because they're a little bit parched, and I understand. They've been doing a lot of work lately. In a weird moment, I guess Pip has the intuition to save the mama jaguar from just being randomly attacked by the evil rhino guy. Who I guess is like the leader of the rhino clan they mention at some point. And he is very protective of his watering hole. Okay, we saw what happened before. He attacked a fucking moving vehicle because he's potentially invincible. And then he also saves the stupid baby jaguar from getting killed because he waltzes up to the watering hole like an idiot. And it starts this really intense and slightly unnecessary standoff between the jaguar and the standing rhinoceros.
Khan, this time you've gone too far after my innocent child.
But it begins with this shot. Like, what was that rhino trying to do to the baby jaguar? He wasn't trying to eat it because rhinos are herbivores. So, like, I think he was just trying to murder the kid, like, which is, like, pretty fucked up. So at this point, Pip pretty much earns his keep with the group. He's kind of one of the boys now, all right? But then we're like 40 minutes into the film, and they decide to introduce 3 new main characters into the film. All right, I'm going to go through them right now. You've got Artie, who is either a kangaroo or an anteater, but I'm not sure. You've got Flash, the 3-toed sloth, and here's an interesting point about Flash. This right here is probably the only point in which Robert D. Hanna has written something that is entirely original, which is naming the sloth Flash. Because if you think about it, that's the same name as the sloth that's in Zootopia, that's in the DMV, except that movie came out in 2016. This movie came out in 2012. But then all of a sudden there's this whole thing where they just acknowledge a plot hole in the movie. They acknowledge that 3-toed sloths are from South America, but the reason why Flash is in Africa is because he got lost.
He's a 3-toed sloth. Aren't you supposed to be in South America?
Well, I was never too good with maps and I got lost.
And he stayed because he kind of likes it here.
Besides, I kinda like it here.
Then Pip just nods. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, okay. Then there's this bird character named Lou, who I think proceeds to threaten Pip.
I'd watch your back if I were you. Always be alert if you don't want to become a tasty meal for someone.
That was a little out of pocket, Lou. After meeting all of these characters, in a sudden shift of tone, Pip just suddenly goes, I want to go home, and then runs away.
You know, I really miss Nathan. Nathan's my master. I've at least got to try and get home.
And all the characters are like, you're not gonna fucking make it, you dumbass. So he gets picked up by a giant bird, but then Artie shoots like wooden spikes with his mouth at him. I didn't know he was a ninja. Artie's fucking cool. So Pip's falling out of the sky. I don't know what it is about these shots, but they look faker than the rest of the film. These shots look like they shot him on green screen within the world that they're in. And then basically after falling for like 20 seconds, he's saved by Lou. Okay, so the next part of the movie really isn't that important, but I thought I would mention it just because it's kind of strange. I think that this was used just to fill time. I'm not sure, but I've got a pretty good idea. Essentially, after Pip and the gang return to camp, they decide to play a game of what is kind of football, but not really. The film has them play the whole game, and it doesn't really serve the plot at all. And as an audience member, I'm just sitting here and watching this, and I'm like, what is the point of this? And then after that, Pip's like, well, I'm gonna show you guys a real sport. And he shows them golf. And listen, I'm not even going to talk about the fact that they had a fully prepared field for this game. Like they have a fucking YMCA in the jungle. They essentially reach this point in the story where the main objective is to acquire water from the watering hole. So they try a couple of strategies, and one of them is where they take Lou and like 2 Lou shadow clones or something. Like they just kind of appeared out of nowhere. They try to do like these dive bombs where they scoop up the water, and that obviously isn't gonna fucking work. But then, after having a boys talk with the hyenas, Pip gets an idea. He's gonna recreate human plumbing. Pip literally designs and builds an entire plumbing system that takes the water from the watering hole and sends it to the village. And they're using tools. Like at this point, I just feel like Robert D. Hanna, when he was writing this film, was just like, I'm gonna have him build a town. Pip remembered the plumbing system and was like, I guess I'm gonna build a plumbing system now. And of course, this wouldn't be a classic F-tier movie by Robert D. Hanna if we did not include a dancing scene.
Roof, rough, roof,
But all the fun's interrupted by the crocodile boys, because they found the plumbing that definitely wasn't just a bamboo stick in the water to them. It was plumbing, and they knew they were being conned. And this leads to the rhinos to literally prepare for war.
Rhinos, assemble now.
I guess when the rhinos go into war mode, they get on all fours, and oh my god, it is terrifying. They are moving like aggressive oobleck. There is no consistency there. They must be simultaneously super strong, but also have demon-like flexibility for this to work out for them. Reminds me of that one meme of that guy who goes from standing to like wolf mode. So the rhinos show up at the good animals' place, and they just fucking trash everything. The thing about these films is that they just start to devolve as they go on, and I think that's because the writers and the animators and everyone just gets sick of it at this point. So I guess Pip is sad because the whole town is destroyed, and he decides that it's a good idea to go and mope by the watering hole. The entire pivoting point of the main conflict of this movie. He decides to just go there. How could you possibly justify that in the writing of the film? So Pip gets chased to the rhino camp by the evil rhino leader, and then he gets captured. And that's where he finds out the crux of the conflict. And that is, the rhinos are unhappy because they don't have girlfriends.
Khan, where are all the girls? Don't you miss having a female around once in a while? No wonder you're all so mean and surly all the livelong day. You need to get some girlfriends around here.
We don't need girlfriends. So just put a lid on it.
I like girlfriends.
I get it. They're lonely. They're lonely rhinos standing around, waving. But I've never heard of a position where you're so lonely that your solution is to go and persecute other people. Like, why is that the next best option here? So Pip escapes from the punch-down crocodiles and he runs away. And of course, as is customary in the filmmaking industry, when the character is at its lowest, the filmmaker should add in a very sad song that is written to explain exactly why the character is feeling sad through the lyrics of the song.
Don't know a good thing until it's gone, long gone. You don't know a good thing until it's gone.
So Pip ends up at what I think was the original rhino village from the beginning of the movie, and it turns out that that's a female rhino camp. How do we tell that they're female rhinos, you ask? Well, they're wearing lipstick, and they've got a little bit of sass to them.
We don't need any men around here. In fact, we are anti-men.
So Pip essentially tells them, hey, there are some male rhinos over there, and I was wondering if you ladies were interested in, dating them. And they say, okay.
What would you say if I told you there is a large camp of available rhino boys right up the road? And they're just looking to meet some lovely ladies like yourselves.
We need some security around here for protection.
Yeah, girl, I agree. And I always wanted to have a big family.
All right, guys. From this point on, this is the point of no return in Robert D. Hanna's writing style, okay? He may have cared a little bit before. He may have given a bit of a shit, maybe a smidgen, maybe a little bit of a little raisin, maybe a little candy corn. He may have given a candy corn of a shit. He does not care anymore. He just goes off the rails with the writing here. I can't even explain what's going on after this point. So the next scene, they are in a rainforest-themed bar, and they've essentially created a rainforest cafe. Without any of them having opposable thumbs, mind you, which also could have been solved if they had included a single monkey character in the film. You're perfectly at liberty to add a monkey character in here, Robert. This bar is like a club, and one of the rhinos is a bouncer, and now Pip is cool with the rhinos, okay? He's one of the boys now. But the crocodiles are not happy with Pip for whatever reason. Which is of course solved with Pip suddenly knowing how to do kung fu and attacking one of the crocodiles. So everything's resolved with the animals now. Everyone's happy. They're chilling. It's a good time. But oh, there's a twist. Pip's owners show up. We didn't expect that at all. So then there's this weird scene where the boy wants to bring Pip back home with him, but then Pip's like, nah, man. I like it here. And the parents and the safari guide are just kind of sitting in the car waiting for the conversation to end. But then in the reverse shot, there's like rhinos just chatting, drinking, and hanging out, talking in English. And the crocodiles are just over there sitting at the bar, drinking from mugs. They went on a safari to see wild animals, and now they're looking at the wild animals, and the wild animals are drinking at a bar that they built. Like, come on. Like, what? So then Pip decides to stay because nobody didn't expect that. And then the boy just says that he'll visit, like, every year, I guess.
Okay, Pip. We'll come back, boy, and we'll pay you a visit every year.
And then that's the end of the film. He just kind of fucking stays. So that's Life's a Jungle, Africa's Most Wanted. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to like the video if you enjoyed it, and comment below and tell me if you know of like any weird movies that I could look at, because I really do enjoy going through them and having a grand old time. As I mentioned before, make sure to go to the link in the description and check out the merch that I launched. I worked really hard on it, and I hope that you guys like it. This is the last video that I'm going to be doing in this childhood home of mine, because I'm actually moving out to LA, and I literally would not have been able to do it without your guys' support, because I do this for a living now. Hope you're doing well. Peace, bitches.